better off theme. Here now, Brad Woodhouse, he's with the DNC. Sean Spicer is with the RNC. They're both communication directors, so we expect perfect grammar from the both of them. Nice to have you with us today.
Thanks, Jenna.
Sean, that's a long laundry list of accomplishments, according to Deval Patrick. What is your single biggest point that counters all those accomplishments by President Obama?
Keep it short,
the list
Sean.
is pretty long, Jenna. There is no single list. I mean, you had a convention that kicked off yesterday with a video in which they said government is the only thing that we belong to, and that's the mantra last night. It's all about government. The government belongs to us. We don't belong to government. Second, you had, as you just mentioned, not one of the 34 speakers mentioned that we are better off. Nothing about jobs, nothing about the debt. And third, as Carl mentioned in his intro, they took out the word God of their platform, and then they took out the reference to Jerusalem as the capital. I mean, there is a definite problem going on with the messaging coming out of here. A clear contrast with the values that we portrayed in Tampa and what you're seeing here in Charlotte.
So, Brad, let's take that point by point. Let's start with the first one, big government, because that's been one of the criticisms that we've seen as we've had some hours to digest what happened with the DNC last night. Just earlier in the show, we did a segment about 1 in 7 Americans being on food stamps. I mean, that's just one fact that's coming out that's a record high right now. What is the plan from Democrats to make the economy better and to create jobs and to get people off food stamps?
Well, let me tell you something. Let me answer Sean's question. Are we better off than we were 4 years ago? Obviously we are. They want to put a 4-year clock on this, Jenna. Let's remember what happened 4 years ago this month under a Republican administration. Lehman fell. We all watched the news reports of the stock market falling through the floor. That was on a Republican administration's watch. That was after 6 years of Republican rule. So
but Brad,
if you want to,
that's not my question, Brad, and this is my segment. So I'm going to need to have to ask you about my question.
Yeah, let me answer your question. Absolutely. The president has put forward a plan. You'll hear about it this week. You know, one of the major criticisms out of Mitt Romney's speech was he presented no rationale for his candidacy. The president will, and he'll talk about a plan, a balanced approach, $4 trillion.
Give us a specific. I mean, just a hint. Just you and me and Sean and a million people. Just a little something.
Well, I'm not going to tell you anything about his speech, but I'll tell you what the president will say. He will say that we need to create an economy that's built to last, and we need to do that by balanced investments. I mean, he'll talk specifically about investments in education, research and development, job training, all the things that the Romney-Ryan budget would eviscerate. We have to invest in the economy if we're going to improve it.
All right.
And he'll talk about a fair tax code that protects the middle class from the tax increase that Paul Ryan and Mitt Romney would put on them.
So let me take this question a different way if I can, Sean. Maybe it's not are you better off than you were 4 years ago. Maybe the question is more, why should we trust either candidate with 4 years of our lives in this country? I mean, what is the best argument coming from the Republicans about why we should trust Mitt Romney now?
That's actually a great question, because I think that's what every voter is asking themselves right now. And there's two things. One, Mitt Romney has a plan to get this country moving again. And his #1 job, day one, is to focus like a laser on the jobs in the economy. Nothing else. Getting people back to work. But more importantly, you have to look at a track record. And Brad said, you know, started talking about what the president's going to talk about. Well, we've had 4 years. He had 2 of the complete Democratic Congress. And look where we are. But with Mitt Romney, you look back and you say, okay, long-time experience in the private sector. Everyone, including President Clinton, called it a sterling business record. He was, by every measure, successful. 2, Salt Lake City Olympics. In dire need of help, he goes in, turns it around. Huge source of national pride. 3, governor of Massachusetts. Came in, took a failing state, turned it around, balanced the budget, moved it up to the
47th out of 50 in jobs, Sean.
51st, the day he walked into office, walked out of office as number 30. He has an amazing record. Every part of his life, success, success, success. Track record alone says Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan on the team.
Let me address a couple of the points that Sean just
made.
Brad,
if you could, why don't we just go back to that question, though? Why should we trust the president with another 4 years of our lives here in this country?
I'll tell you exactly why, Jenna. The middle class should trust him for a few reasons. One, he won't raise their taxes by $2,000 a year like Paul Ryan and Mitt Romney are proposing to do. He will put the middle class back. He will put middle class back on a road to success. Mitt Romney wants to take money from the middle class to fund more tax breaks for the wealthiest Americans. But let me say this. When the president took over, we had just come out of that collapse of Lehman and the economy. He pulled it was like a plane going towards the ground. He got the stick, he pulled it up, we're starting to rise. We don't need to go back to the policies that Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan advocated for years ago that crashed the economy. They want to repeat the things that crashed the economy.
If the plane was crashing, listen, hold on, Jenna, the thing is,
Congressman Becerra used the same example of the plane crashing on our show yesterday, and I'm not a great flyer, Brad. So we have Sean, we have John the pilot next to me wondering, we got to save that plane. Brad and Sean, do you guys get together for drinks? You know, I mean, I know you're on opposite sides, but you guys kind of hang out every once in a while. I mean, you guys like each other, right?
Hey, you're welcome to come over to the Hilton, Sean.
I'm going to come, but here's the thing. That plane, the problem is that when the plane's crashing, you got to get the pilot to focus on keeping it up, not turn around and ask for more peanuts. You got to keep the eye on the plane crashing, not taking your eye off the ball.
I'd love to have you both back, and let's use a different metaphor than the plane crashing. It makes me nervous, you guys.
I agree.
I've got tons of them, Jenna. I got tons of them.
All right. Brad and Sean, nice to see you both. Thank you so much.
Thank you.